Reggie Wright Jr. finally takes responsibility for sabotaging Tupac's security on September 7th, 1996. But he also continues to blame his employees when the buck usually stops with the person at the top. Let's get into some of this straight game.
Life is like those cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. Click the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm gonna get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, Reggie Wright Jr. Finally admits and takes responsibility for sabotaging Tupac Shakur's security in Las Vegas. This is a huge step. It comes in the form of a question, but the video itself, and here is the screenshot. Is anyone to blame for Biggie's lack of security? Am I to blame for Tupac? In this video, Reggie admits that he is to blame for and responsible for how the people were able to get that close to Tupac, as his security did not perform as it was supposed to. And as a matter of fact, Reggie actually pulled security off of Tupac, according to Michael Moore and according to Frank Alexander. That's why Frank Alexander was the only one on Tupac that night in Las Vegas, because Reggie had pulled all of the other security officers off of Tupac. It is clear, and Frank Alexander made it clear, as well as Tupac made it clear, that Tupac wanted Frank Alexander to be his personal bodyguard. This was said by Frank. I've showed you the letter where Reggie was fired, which he continues to deny. But we know now the motive for why Reggie pulled the security off of Tupac, and it was because he was fired. We know that now. He denied it for years and years and years and years, and we finally put that information out. But more importantly, with this this video right here, this admission of guilt and taking responsibility and saying, yes, he was responsible, he was culpable, he sabotaged Tupac's security, is a big step for someone who has been lying for the last 30 some odd years. And he's lied about numerous situations in which, like I said, he lied about the fact that he didn't hear Gotham over the radio. He lied about the fact that he went to the hospital and met with Suge Knight in Suge Knight's hospital room while Suge Knight was in his hospital bed. That did not happen. Suge Knight came out and recently confirmed that that did not happen. He lied about running Death Row. He lied about the radio in which the Nextel radios, in which he said back then did not have a two-way radio that you could communicate with the other employees. He lied about that, which he admitted to when he ran to the grand jury and testified before Keefe D was actually arrested, in which he had no new information to provide, but he did admit that the radios did have a two-way walkie-talkie. And the reason why he did that was because he wanted to make Frank Alexander seem the one who was responsible for what happened to Tupac, when we know for a fact Frank Alexander was the person who pulled Orlando and Tupac apart. We can see that on the video. Frank was there to try to quell the situation. We can see that clearly. It was not Frank Alexander's fault. Frank Alexander was left out to dry, if you will. Michael Moore said that. Michael Moore said that Reggie kept calling and calling and wanted to know where he was, because Michael Moore was one of the people who would not relinquish his weapon and kept his weapon on him while he was in Vegas. And Michael Moore said it was strange to him why Reggie Wright would do that from that perspective. And Michael Moore said that he started to not go down to Club 662 where Reggie Wright wanted him to be at instead of being with Tupac, but he decided not to disobey the orders that were given to him by Reggie Wright Jr. and telling him to go down to Club 662, leaving only Frank Alexander with Tupac on that fatal night. But more importantly, we know also now that that was a deliberate plan as to the fact that Suge Knight had asked him to send more security for Tupac that night, and Reggie refused, and in fact sabotaging the security because he was fired as Tupac's personal security on August 27, 1996. These are actual facts. And like I said, more importantly, Reggie doing this video and coming out and finally admitting that, yes, he was responsible. See, because what you have to understand is this. You have to understand this. Reggie Wright Jr. has been trying to play friends with, before Keefe D was arrested, with Keefe D, you know, calling the man's house, and trying to create these phone calls over YouTube and all of these things. And but more importantly, what you have to understand is Reggie has been touting about how Keefe D, he says now that Keefe D should play crazy and rub feces all over his face and not to say that he lied in regards to the situation. You know, it's ironic to me because the person who failed at security, and let's say that what Keefe D was saying was true from the onset, the person who failed at security allowed Keefe D to get next to Tupac like that, right? See, the failure of security is what allowed Tupac to be even go approach Orlando Anderson. The failure of security, the failure of one sending adequate security in a crowded Las Vegas fight on fight night, right? Anybody, especially at Tupac's at the height of his success at that particular time, Tupac was the #1 selling artist in the world at that particular time, right? And see, to blame the homeboys, to blame and say, oh yeah, that's what the homeboys were supposed to do. No, that's what wrong way security, it was called right way security, but I call it wrong way security was supposed to do, but neglected to do based on the fact that they were ordered not to do it by the person who ran the company at that particular time, which was Reggie Wright Jr. You understand what I'm saying? So if there's adequate security, Tupac can't run over to Orlando Anderson. If there's adequate security and protocol being taken, there is now a step back as to after what happened, even if that situation was to happen, right? There's a step back and a rethinking of the plan and how we're going to move from that perspective. Because Tupac really didn't know what he was getting himself into from that perspective. But from all accounts, Reggie Wright Jr. seems to know everything. So he was supposed to know that. And like I said, once again, he wasn't even present for that situation. So my thing is, once again, he's saying that, oh, he's blaming Frank Alexander, the person who actually was there to help break up the fight before Tupac bolted off. But like I said, if Reggie had sent the other 4 or 5 security guards that Suge Knight had asked him, right, the situation wouldn't have never happened. Suge did do the right thing and ask him for more security. It's just that simple. Once Suge saw the threat, so Suge had to see something to be able to call Reggie and ask him to send more security. It's just that plain and simple. And he said that he seen one. He said, you know, somebody was stalking Pac in the videos that I've put out previously. You go back and check those videos out. And I played a recording where, you know, if you go back, Suge said, if you go back and watch the videos, you know, they were stalking Pac. You understand what I'm saying? So he basically said, yo, he asked Reggie to send more security. He didn't do it. Your security is your first line of defense. That's why the lady who was the head of the Secret Service just resigned her job, because the buck stops at the top. not with the other Secret Service agents. The protocol comes from the top down, not the bottom up. And so therefore, in trying to use a dead man in Frank Alexander as a scapegoat for something that Reggie had planned already, you go back to New York. Suge Knight was there. You go back to New York, you see Michael Moore on Tupac, right? And you see a couple of other security officers on Tupac, right? And see, Reggie likes to claim that, oh, in New York, you go back and look at my security was on him. That's my point exactly. But in Las Vegas, they weren't. Why? You understand what I'm saying? So now, the reason why in New York it was that way from that perspective is because, once again, Reggie was still fired, but Suge was on deck and, handled business accordingly. And Tupac also had that walkie-talkie. But you go to Vegas, and Frank Alexander is the only person on Tupac. I brung you that information and showed you the pictures of the difference in the security. Tupac, when leaving out of the MGM Grand, was the first person out the door after the situation had happened. And Frank was right behind him. Where were the other security guards? Reggie Wright Jr. sabotaged the security and did not send them. He said, fuck Tupac, because Tupac basically fired him as his personal security because Reggie was talking about Tupac's business and running back and telling Suge once he gathered information from his security guards who were moonlighting as Tupac's personal security after hours, not on death row time, but on Tupac's personal time. And Reggie was like, basically, when Tupac sent the fax basically saying that, you know what, I no longer require right way security as my personal security. Reggie was mad because that was money being taken out of his pocket. And from then on, after it was a couple of weeks, 2 weeks after that, Tupac was shot in Vegas. It's that simple. And like I said, once again, the personal aspect of it, it wasn't business for Reggie at that particular time. It was personal. He was like, fuck Tupac. I showed y'all the video where he actually said, fuck Tupac. I didn't need that little extra couple of dollars anyway. So now, when he said he didn't need that extra little couple of dollars anyway, right? It goes as to motive in which he knew why he did what he did. Because you're not going to mention no extra little couple of dollars if that wasn't part of the motive and why you fired too. And why you took the security off of Tupac in Vegas. Think about it. So he basically spoke of the motive as to why he did what he did. Fuck Tupac. I could just let him go back to jail anyway. I didn't need that little $300 or $400, is what he said. For the people who seen the video that I put out, you know what I'm talking about. And you can go back and look at the video and see what I'm talking about. I might repost that video again just to bring you up to date, because I think that's always important, as to keep people, because people will try to change the narrative as time goes on, and they think they can jump back into the same old lies and try to get you to think differently about what the truth actually is. Right? So understand that. When you understand that, you'll get it. You'll say, oh, so he was mad Tupac fired him as his personal security, so he would be no longer making money off of Tupac from that perspective, and being able to invoice Tupac or Death Row or Interscope for protecting Tupac. So he was mad. So when they got to Las Vegas, he was like, Suge saying, send more security. Reggie was like, fuck Tupac. I ain't sending him nothing. Simple. It's that simple. And so now, with this new video, he's trying to deflect and ask, is anyone to blame for Biggie's lack of security? That's irrelevant. You were not responsible for Biggie's security. And that's a fact. You were responsible for Tupac's security, and you failed at that. The buck stops at the top, not at the bottom. And so he finally admitted it in this video right here. Because the guilt is eating him up. He knows what he did. He knows that he was vindictive. He was jealous. He was hateful. Right? He wanted to be Suge Knight and he couldn't be. He was just security. He was just security. Just the other day, as a matter of fact, to be more clear in how he tries to associate himself with certain situations, he was talking about the Olympics and he mentioned Simone Biles. But he said Simone Biles like this, my girl Biles, as if she came over to eat dinner and they had been knowing each other for 25 years. If you listen to him in the casual way in which he mentioned certain situation, I'm loving the Olympics, my girl Biles, like they know each other personally. He doesn't know Simone Biles. The misleading way he talks about certain situations is just that, misleading. But like I said, when we talk about this Tupac situation, these are facts. Tupac fired him. He denied it. The facts was released, which had Tupac's signature on it. Like Donald Trump said, you're fired. You know what I mean? And he was mad about that. And so therefore he sabotaged Tupac's security, in which led Tupac to one, like I said, once again, security is not to protect people from you, but also you from people and also you from yourself. And so therefore, because the security wasn't adequate, the night ended the way that it did. And Reggie has been denying this for the last 30 some odd years. But he knows everything about everybody else. Frank Alexander told us. Reggie told him not to carry guns. Michael Moore refused to relinquish his gun. These were his employees. These are the people that he tried to blame. It doesn't work. They spoke their piece. And we understand clearly what they were telling us. And it's just as simple as that. Like I said, the Nextel walkie-talkie didn't have a walkie-talkie feature on it. He's been saying that for the last 30 years. But when it came to go and testify to the grand jury, he said, the Nextel walkie-talkies had a radio feature. I don't know why my security, Frank Alexander, didn't contact me. What? And I showed you in the video where he said that the walkie-talkie didn't have that feature. And then he switched up, and now all of a sudden in front of the grand jury, it did. Reggie Wright Jr. cannot be trusted. His credibility is zero. Everything that he's basically said involving death row, most of the stuff has been a lie. And Suge Knight has come out and spoken out and confirmed it. You see the video I did yesterday in regards to him saying something about Suge Knight's health, which he doesn't know and he can't confirm. Why would you say something like that about somebody's health and you can't confirm? That is textbook defamation. When you say something about somebody's medical situation, that's textbook defamation, period. You understand what I'm saying? So once again, these are the tactics that are being played. But I'm going to tell you once again, look, is anyone to blame for Biggie's lack of security? He doesn't want to be alone. He doesn't want to be alone in his responsibility. I need somebody else to ride in this boat with me. Am I to blame for Tupac? Absolutely, positively. And he admits it in this video. Your boy DELRAY, straight gang.